Since its interim formation in January 2025, the Ghana Gold Board has implemented aggressive reforms, especially in the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. By May alone, the Gold Board had exported 11 tons of gold valued at USD 1.1 billion. Actually, it's in May alone. The Gold Board exported 11 tons of gold valued at 1.1 billion US dollars.
Imagine waking up to a headline that says, Ghana makes $1 billion in just 1 month. Not from aid, not from foreign loans, but from its own gold, controlled by its own people. It's not a fantasy. It's not propaganda. This is not a dream. This is the true story of how Ghana, a country long exploited for its mineral wealth, decided to rewrite the rules, expelled foreign mining interests, reclaimed its resources, and raked in over $1 billion in gold revenue in just 30 days. How did this happen? What triggered this economic shockwave? And why are African countries suddenly turning to Ghana as the model for resource independence? Today, we're not just reporting a story, we're witnessing the birth of a movement. Enough to gold that enriched outsiders while polluting the land and leaving locals in poverty. A movement of African nations taking back what is theirs. The streets of ancient cities like Kumasi glittered with gold dust. Welcome to AfricVibe News, the voice of a rising Africa. Ghana stood up and said, enough. Enough to foreign control. Enough to broken promises. And the results? Unbelievable, but very real. Stay with us as we unpack the political courage, the grassroots pressure, the economic revolution, and what it means for the entire African continent. Because this is not just Ghana's victory. Ghana remained a top gold-producing nation, yet the people in gold-rich towns like Tarkwa, Obuasi, and Presti lived in poverty. It merely shifted from colonial governments to foreign companies, mostly from Europe, the US, China, and Canada. The land was rich, but the people were poor. Children couldn't go to school because their wells were poisoned. It's Africa's warning shot. Asterisk. In exchange, the people of Ghana received exploitation, forced labor, and environmental devastation. Long before colonizers stepped foot on West African soil, Ghana was already rich in culture, trade, and gold. And Lebanese entities, working in partnership with corrupt officials and powerful elites. The ancient empires of Ghana and later Ashanti were known across the world as some of the wealthiest kingdoms on earth. But what was once a blessing quickly became a curse. During the colonial period, the British renamed the region the Gold Coast, not because it was theirs, but because they intended to take it. And take they did. For over a century, millions of ounces of gold were extracted and shipped to Europe. Fast forward to independence in 1957, and though the Union Jack came down, foreign control over Ghana's gold didn't end. These corporations secured massive mining licenses, operated in protected zones, paid minimal taxes, and shipped profits offshore. AfricVibe News has been reporting this injustice for years. By the early 2020s, the mining situation in Ghana had reached a boiling point. Illegal mining, known locally as galamsey, became a nationwide crisis. Rivers turned brown. Farmlands were destroyed. But the problem wasn't just unlicensed locals. Many illegal mines were being operated by foreign nationals, particularly Chinese. Local communities cried out. Journalists were arrested for exposing the networks. Environmentalists were threatened. Traditional chiefs lost their ancestral lands. And yet, foreign miners continued to operate with impunity. It was only a matter of time before something snapped. In late 2024, Ghana's government, under mounting pressure from civil society and grassroots movements, made a bold, irreversible decision. All foreign nationals involved in illegal mining must leave. Immediately, deportations began. Now, every gram was accounted for, and Ghana's economy felt the impact immediately. Heavy machinery was seized. Mining licenses of several multinational companies were revoked or suspended. Entire illegal mining camps were bulldozed. This wasn't a symbolic gesture. It was a strategic reset of the entire mining sector. AfricVibe News was on the ground in towns like Dunkwanofin and Bagoso, where residents cheered as excavators were removed and their rivers began to breathe again. Critics warned that removing foreign miners would cripple Ghana's economy. They were wrong. Women's cooperatives were trained in or sorting and gold panning. Engineers from Ghanaian universities were hired to build safer, eco-friendly mining equipment. Within just 1 month, the country recorded a $1 billion surge in gold revenue. How is this possible? Because for the first time, the government imposed strict export controls on raw gold. Local licensed miners were given priority access to rich sites. New tax frameworks ensured that royalties flowed directly to the national treasury. Smuggling routes were dismantled, redirecting gold into legal, traceable systems. Previously, as much as 60% of gold production was smuggled or underreported. Customs revenue spiked. Foreign reserves increased. The national currency, the cedi, stabilized for the first time in years. AfricVibe News obtained exclusive financial records from Ghana's Ministry of Finance, confirming that the $1 billion figure was not just real, it was only the beginning. What happens when you put Ghana's gold back in Ghanaian hands? Employment source. Over 45,000 new jobs were created within 90 days of the reform. Youth who once migrated to cities in search of work returned home to operate community-owned mines. Mining schools received fresh funding. Vocational centers reopened. And so did the government. Even local tailors, cooks, and transport workers found opportunity in the newly revived sector. Our gold is for Ghana, not for cartels and faraway capitals. AfricVibe News spoke to residents in Bibiani who said, "For the first time in our lives, we are benefiting from our own gold." It became one of the most watched videos in West Africa. In many towns, local chiefs imposed 10% community development levies on all gold extracted, funding schools, hospitals, and roads. The impact of Ghana's gold revolution didn't stop at its borders. Burkina Faso began reviewing all foreign mining contracts under Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Mali nationalized key gold sites and suspended Western operators. Zimbabwe announced stricter controls on lithium and gold exports. South Africa's youth movements demanded full transparency in platinum mining. At an AU conference in Addis Ababa, Ghana was officially invited to present its mining reforms to fellow African nations. ECOWAS, often seen as toothless in economic matters, pledged to create a West African Mineral Sovereignty Pact, inspired directly by Ghana's results. AfricVibe News sat down with ministers from Nigeria and Senegal who said, "Ghana has proven it's possible to be rich on our own terms." Success often invites resistance. Soon after Ghana's announcement, Western mining lobbyists, investment banks, and foreign governments began pressuring Accra to reverse its decision. The IMF hinted that investor confidence might be affected. European embassies held closed-door meetings with Ghanaian officials. Foreign media began running negative stories, painting Ghana as unstable. Some even warned of sanctions or trade restrictions if foreign assets were not protected. But the Ghanaian people stood firm. In a fiery national address, Ghana's president declared, "We will no longer be slaves on our own soil." AfricVibe News aired the speech live. The billion-dollar question remains, can Ghana maintain this momentum? There are real challenges. Ensuring that local miners follow safety and environmental rules. If this inspired you, subscribe now, drop a comment, and share this with every African proud of our continent's rise. Preventing a resurgence of illegal operations. Managing new wealth responsibly, without falling into corruption. But the government has taken bold steps. Establishing a gold oversight committee including youth, traditional leaders, and civil society. Launching a Gold to Development Fund, where 20% of all gold revenue is reinvested in health, education, and infrastructure. Partnering with the Ghana Armed Forces to monitor mining zones using drones and satellite surveillance. AfricVibe News visited the newly built monitoring center in Accra, where military personnel are now tracking gold routes in real time. The signs are promising. The determination is real. This story is bigger than gold. It's a message to every African country sitting on oil, lithium, bauxite, copper, diamonds, cocoa, timber, and fertile soil. Don't sell your soul. Don't give away your power. Don't export your future. Ghana has proven that economic liberation is possible, not by begging, but by owning. Owning our resources. Owning our decisions. Owning our destiny. AfricVibe News believes this is only the beginning. The age of raw resource exploitation is coming to an end. The era of African control is here. $1 billion in 30 days. Not from donations, not from handouts, but from the ground beneath our feet. Ghana has made history, not because it struck gold, but because it chose to keep it. This is Afric Vibe News, your number one voice for African development, sovereignty, and real success stories. Because Ghana just raised the bar, and the rest of Africa is ready to rise.